Greetings and salutations. Random, not so random thought in this moment. Just kind of a question. Just the idea of anger, right? And what is it that you're doing with your anger? How is it being directed? How do you move through it, right? Allowing yourself to feel all of it. I think that's definitely one of the themes that's been coming through for me recently, right? I think I've spent so much of my life suppressing the anger, this idea of what it's supposed to look, or not what it's supposed to look like, but how we're supposed to present ourselves, ensuring that the people around us feel comfortable and comforted, right? And not in the sense of like allowing our rage and our anger to, spill out in a way that is harmful, right? It's about allowing our anger to be seen and felt when it's felt, instead of suppressing it so it doesn't get to the point of spilling out in harmful ways, so for me, it's that realization that there, are a few decades of rage and anger that have just been suppressed, and then not just that has been suppressed within my lifetime, the ancestral ties, they go deep, right? So recognizing that the rage, the anger that we are holding within our bodies, it's not just our own, it's not just from this current lifetime that we're living, right? It holds the anger, the suppressed anger and rage of our ancestors before us, right? All that rage and suppression that was within their bodies, within their beings, right? That was passed down, right? So a lot of it is also, it's genetic, right? It's spiritual, right? It's not just ours, it's not just our ancestors, it is also the anger and rage of the collective, right? Of the people, right? We are all connected within that, right? And it's also allowing ourselves to feel and experience that anger, that rage in community, right? Not on your own, not pushing it down, not like trying to not feel it, having it being felt, talked about, expressed, moved through, right? Allowing it to teach us, right? What is it that it is teaching in this moment? How can I learn from this? What is it telling me about myself, about my ancestry, about the collective, right? What is it that this anger is expressing in this moment, and allowing ourselves to tap into that, to dive into that, right? I think, even like, I want to say especially with women, but I think it's within men as well, but as a woman, I can speak from my experience, and I think, for women, there has been a push to suppress the anger, right? When we express our rage in a fuller form, we're kind of seen as hysterical, or so there's been a push to suppress in order to maintain this kind of prim and proper image that we're supposed to uphold, right? To be ladylike, I think men have been more allowed to, have been given more room and space to express that emotion there are emotions on both sides that tend to be suppressed. I think with men, um, sadness, grief, the lower, want to cry and curl up in a corner, wanting to be held and nurtured and nourished. That's not always, fully expressed within men. There's an idea that, there's some kind of weakness within that, right? Wanting to be held, right? Wanting to cry and to just kind of fall apart. There hasn't been that much space for men to express in that way. I think definitely we are moving in that direction. You're seeing a lot more spaces opening up that are encouraging men. A lot of men that are encouraging other men to feel all of their emotions, and anger also, actually anger in men as well, and in how it's explored, and recognizing the connection from anger to sadness to grief, right? And how all those things navigate and communicate within our bodies and inform each other. And when we allow ourselves to pay attention to it, we're informing ourselves, right, about ourselves. And we can learn so much so that we can show up in healthier ways, healthier for ourselves, healthier for the people around us, right? I think sometimes we get into this idea that we just are the people that we are, right? This is just me, and yeah, you are you. And as you, part of this human experience is growth, right? It is becoming and unbecoming. We go through so many birth and death cycles within just the one lifetime that we're having, right? I mean, in all of our lifetimes, yes, but just in this one lifetime, there are so many death and rebirth cycles that we are just constantly moving through, right? And it's just allowing ourselves to surrender to that, to flow with that, to trust that, and trust all that is encompassed within it, and know that no matter where you are, right, it's always possible to make a shift, to grow in a different direction, no matter how old you are, no matter how far gone you think you are, no matter how broken you believe you are, because you're not broken, right? That's why the quotation marks, you're not broken, right? You're not beyond hope, you know? I'm not sure if that's I think it's a fish. I thought it was an alligator. But yeah, you are full, whole, and complete in your being right now in this moment. And even within your fullness and your wholeness, there's still always room to grow, right? The idea that there's healing that needs to take place or is available to take place, the idea that there is growth that can take place, that evolution that needs to happen, right? That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you, right? It doesn't mean that there are bad things about you that need to change. There are no bad things, there are only things, right? And we can allow ourselves to kind of look at ourselves without as much judgment, right? Not judging these different things that we are unearthing about ourselves. Loving ourselves more deeply, right? Loving ourselves more deeply within, our more toxic traits, right? Loving our shadow, right? Appreciating all the lessons that come from there, right? Because there are some deep lessons that come from our shadow, from our pain, from the things that we carry shame and guilt about, right? Those things that we don't want to share, right? So allowing ourselves to, recognize those aspects of ourselves and to sit with it, right? And to show that part of yourself a deep love and a deep reverence, right? Because all of you, every aspect of your being is sacred. Every emotion, every thought, every feeling, all of you, every cell in your being is sacred. Every decision you have ever made, everything you have ever done, every action that you have taken has been sacred, right? And just allow yourself to feel into where you are now in this moment. Yeah, and move from there, you know. But yeah, I believe that is all in this moment. Yeah. Sending so much love.